Everybody, my name is Bree Walker and I am the Communications Associate at Pro Seniors, and today we're going to get into the financial exploitation of seniors. We're going to cover a little bit about what that means, what does elder abuse mean, and so many other things in this presentation today, so stay tuned. So a little bit about Pro Seniors. We were founded in 1975. So Pro Seniors is a nonprofit organization dedicated to enhancing seniors' independence and quality of life by empowering them, by protecting their interests, and by facilitating their access to resources. So what are we going to cover today? Well, we're going to cover a little bit what broadly is elder abuse, what is senior financial exploitation, which is a subset of elder abuse, how to report abuse as a caretaker, and also some related resources that both caretakers and victims can use. Also, some legal service programs. We have a legal helpline, so we have a free legal advice for Ohioans age 60 plus. We do them by appointment. It's usually by telephone. It takes about 30 minutes, and our numbers could be 513-345-4160, and if you're calling and you need toll free, it's 1-800-488-6070. And for you guys that don't know, we've helped well over 6,000 seniors annually, and we continually like to increase that. So, what is elder abuse? Broadly speaking, elder abuse is any knowing, intentional, or negligent act by a caregiver or any other person that causes harm or a serious risk of harm to a vulnerable adult. So what is considered financial exploitation of elders? Well, financial exploitation is the unlawful or improper act of a person using an adult or his or her resources for monetary or personal benefit, profit, or gain. So have any of you guys seen this, or have any of you guys known someone who has been financially exploited? Let me know in the comments. So moving on, some warning signs of elder abuse. There can be some changes in older adults' physical or emotional stress, personality or mood, finances or money management, condition of home environment. Also, sometimes what happens is there can be a dominating, threatening caregiver or someone that's newly introduced, that you're being introduced to as like their best friend, just someone who kind of comes in and gains a lot of authority and control in this person's life very quickly, really without notice. Also, if you're seeing, exclusion from other family members or friends, what these types of people like to do is they like to isolate their victims. So, talking a little bit about this, we have Marilyn's story. So Marilyn was someone who came to Pro Seniors. She started getting emails and texts from Amazon. So she called the number, but it took her to a company called Health Awareness Project, and they were doing free genetic cancer screenings. So she put in her Medicare information because they told her they wouldn't charge her because the screening was free. They just had to have her information on file, like her Medicare and other personal information. But what happened was they did charge her. So what she did is she called Pro Seniors for advice. And what we did is we had a lawyer on staff that was able to advise her to talk to Medicare, get a new Medicare card, and to watch for fraudulent charges. And now she has not been scammed since, and she is doing extremely well. And if you want to hear more about her story, she actually has a full testimonial on our YouTube channel, and I can put that in the link below. So financial exploitation, there are a few major categories. So there's identity theft, there's investment fraud, there's mortgage and lending fraud, there's mass market, and other fraud. And if you guys have heard about these or have been a victim of one of these types of fraud or know someone, let me know in the comments. So when it comes to red flags of financial exploitation, we want to listen for these common red flags. So requests for wire transfers, prepaid money cards or gift cards, requests for personal information, the pressure to act immediately, requests to keep the interaction secret, guarantees to make money, requests for a large down payment, and also when something is for a large sum, there's no contract or nothing written into contract, that's a very big red flag. And also sending money out of the country, that's a big one. A lot of scammers are coming, most of them, a majority of them come from out of the country. Let me know in the comments if you guys have ever gotten any emails or texts from people asking that they're a prince or king in another country and asking for money, or they're in desperate need of money, things like that. So when it comes to identity theft, it's a crime that involves illegal access and use of an individual's person and or financial information. So usually identity theft can happen to anyone whose personally identifiable information is exposed. And some common ID theft strategies that these scammers like to use, they like to skim credit cards, they go dumpster diving, so physically getting in and finding your mail that hasn't been ripped up or properly disposed of, hacking in to your private information, stealing like a wallet or a purse, and also phishing emails trying to get information from you. So when it comes to mass marketing fraud, these are kind of the use of false promises. So getting emails or texts about cash prizes, free services, goods, but these are always coming from a place of they want to exchange that for fees, donations, or purchases. So a helpful tip, something that is free should always be free. There shouldn't be something that is tied to that that's actually not free. Big red flag. So also, this crime may be committed through the mail, telephone, email, even television ads, infomercials, and other types of communication. These types of fraud are also defined by the form of communication used to conduct them. So some high target groups are usually older adults and others who are isolated, people who have a physical challenge or disability, individuals who experience a cognitive limitation or age-related incapacity, those grieving the loss of a loved one, victims of domestic violence, near retirees, and previous victims of financial fraud. These are all situations where people are either in circumstantial states where they are particularly vulnerable, or they are part of vulnerable populations in general, and sometimes it can be both. So why these groups? Honestly, they're more easily to hand over control of their finances because they are either in a vulnerable situation, circumstance, or they're a part of a vulnerable population. And also, they are more likely to have money. These scammers, they are intelligent, and they are going to go for people who are most likely going to have the money that they are looking for if they're going to put all that effort into trying to scam you. So who are these perpetrators? Who are these scammers? Who are these people that are targeting older adults? So depending on the type of crime, they could be perfect strangers, but they can include family members and caretakers, which can be kind of shocking for some people. Perpetrators may also include members or leaders of affinity groups, so authority figures like religious bodies, civic groups, ethnic, political parties, book clubs, community groups, and even professional organizations. And I think even more insidious is those trusted advisors, so people that are supposed to manage your money, that you trust with your money, like accountants, attorneys, bankers, and even investment professionals. The costs of these kinds of frauds are not only emotional, but physical and financial. And when it comes to emotional, this can lead to feelings of denial, isolation, fear, guilt, and shame, anger, loss of confidence, loss of trust in others, and also depression. And the monetary costs, so the time and money spent clearing up financial and credit records, lifetime or retirement savings benefits or personal properties, home and home equity, retirement income, and even on a day-to-day, just the ability to live independently, which, as we know with older Ohioans, is something that is huge, to be able to live independently and have an independent life as you age. So how can you help? Well, there's a few things you can do. You can show compassion, listen actively, Be sensitive to the victim's fears and safety concerns. Understand why the victims may return to you for help multiple times. Protect and advocate as well. Also, considering the victim's need for referral to other professionals, including that legal aid or other civil attorneys, nonprofit consumer credit counseling, mental and emotional health support, including counseling, and also medical care or evaluation. So when it comes to crime victim assistance, we want to connect an Ohio senior with crime victim assistance at Pro Seniors or another comparable source, right? Because crime victims have rights. They have a right to privacy, a right to lawful representation, a right to receive investigation information, a right to be notified about it, a right to talk to a prosecutor, and a right to attend court proceedings on these matters. Another thing you guys can do is to help the victim create a safety plan to prepare for future contact with the perpetrator, because they tend to come back, and also report the financial fraud to law enforcement authorities when appropriate. The sooner the better. Most of these perpetrators are going to keep coming back asking for more and more, so it's better earlier and often. Also, setting expectations. So victims need to know that recovery requires work and that reporting matters. So like I said, reporting it earlier and more often is going to give you the most benefit, and it's going to make sure that you're not going to be out any more money, because they do tend to come back. As well as the expectation of managing expectations about full financial recovery of funds, because it is difficult to achieve. You're dealing with perpetrators who are largely outside of the country, and sometimes that can be hard. Civil legal action might be necessary to get their money or property back, but honestly, it might not work. So the first step is to stop exploitation moving forward, and to know that resources are available, and to make the recovery more about health, mental, physical well-being, and then getting into the financial recovery. So where should I report suspected elder abuse? So reports of suspected elder abuse should be made to local adult protective services, or by calling 1-855-OHIO-APS. That's 1-855-644-6277, and they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Also, a lot of questions that I get are, what should I include when I report suspected elder abuse? Which is a really good question, because it can be really taxing to even call and talk about something like this. So to have a plan of action is paramount. So the number one thing you need to do is have the name, address, and approximate age of the adult who is the subject of the report. Also, you want to have the name and address of the individual responsible for the adult's care, if any individual is, and if the individual is known. Number 3, the nature and extent of the alleged abuse, neglect, or exploitation of the adult. And number 4, the basis of the reporter's belief that the adult has been abused, neglected, or exploited. 3 and 4 is obviously very, very hard and a difficult thing to do, but it's what's going to help the prosecution and to help build your case and to help recover lost mental health and financial well-being. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put this in the comment section below of this video. There is also a quick survey below where we get into some details about this. We would love your participation. And also, if you guys want any more fact sheets, we have them on proseniors.org. We have a variety of fact sheets of legal topics, including tips for avoiding scams, and also self-help toolkits to create common legal documents, for example, like advanced directives. So if you guys are wanting to learn more, feel free to follow us on social media, and we encourage you to participate in the survey below, and we hope that you have a great rest of your day, and you can always reach out to us if you need any legal help. Thank you so much.